Good morning, awesome Niners. Oh no, here we are again, back on the online lessons, buddies. But that's okay. I hope that you're all safe and well, my lovelies. And I can't believe it that you're all having to self-isolate for this little while. But that's okay. Here's what's gonna happen, my buddies. I didn't want your guys' lessons to stop being kind of normal lessons, so I said what I'll do is I'm gonna teach you guys, all of you guys. So it's not just my lovely nines, it's not just my EBSs and my JLBs, but I've got all of you nines now, and I'm gonna do the next 4 lessons with you, which will be really nice. It's a really good topic. I'm so excited that I get to teach it to you. It's bounds is the topic that we're gonna do, which I know you've never heard of, but you're gonna think it's really cool. I think you will anyway. But before I can do that, I have to teach you guys about rounding to decimal places. So, pretty much, buddies, here's how it's gonna work. Until you guys get to come back to school next Friday, and I'm really looking forward to meeting you guys next Friday. I haven't even met one of my Year 9 groups yet, so I'm so keen for you guys to get back, but until we can see each other, I'm going to take your lessons, and here's what's going to happen. I'm going to be completely in charge of you guys. I'm Mr. Wade, in case you don't know which one I am. And what we're going to do is I'm going to be setting all your work, and I'll make you a video for all of our lessons. And all I want you to do is just chat with me over Show My Homework kind of as you need to. And yeah, so I'll take it over from here, buddies. If you want, just I get to be your temporary teacher for 4 days. Hooray! Cool. So the topic for today is rounding, and put rounding dash decimal places into your book for me, please, buddies. And I know that some of you are going to be absolutely ace at this topic, but it, believe it or not, is a topic that's often taught totally wrong when you guys are in primary school, and that kind of can stick around all the way until Year 9. So I'm going to make sure you're all ace at it first before we can start our sick, amazing unit that's going to blow your mind. Cool. So you've got the title Rounding to Decimal Places. Cool beans, buddies. Now here's what's going to happen. Can you see this first number here? 8.656. I put this little purple 2 in a bracket to tell you that I want it rounded to 2 decimal places. Well, here's Mr. Wade's patented trademark, surefire way of getting this right every time. Here's how 2 decimal places work. See how there's a decimal there? Well, 2 decimal places just means you're going to count in 2 spots to the right, so after the decimal place. So there's a decimal there, and it's 2 spots, so you ready? 1, 2. And because I want it to be really easy for you, I'm even going to put a round line. So you put a little red round line there. Do you see what I mean? So there was the dot there. I counted once, twice, and I put a little round line. Now, what I like to do is underline the very first number after it, which is a 6. Now, you just have to decide if 6 is going to be a number that rounds up or rounds down. Now, because I can't actually sit with you right now and ask you what does it round up or does it round down, I'm just going to have to tell you anything that is 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9 rounds up. So 5 or more rounds up, 4 or less rounds down. You might be thinking that there's more numbers that round down than up, but don't forget 0 is a number. So there's 5 numbers that round down, 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5 numbers that round up, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Cool. So this is going to round up then, right, guys? Cool. So the question you've got to ask then is it going to be 8.65 if it rounds down, so it stays the same if it rounds down, or will it be 8.66 if it rounds up? Well, you guys just said it rounds up. 8.66, like a boss. No problemo. Cool. This one, 1 decimal place. What that means, one more time, is you're going to count 1 spot after the decimal, which means whoosh, just there. Now, since the line's there, 1 spot after the decimal, the only number that we really care about now is this 5 here. Now, does 5 round up or does it round down? Well, what do you think? Oh, it rounds up, you're right. So will it stay as 3.4 if it rounds down or become 3.5? Well, if you said becomes 3.5, absolutely legends, my Super Niner Niners. Absolutely. Cool beans. Next one. 2 decimal places. Again, start at the decimal. 1, 2, puts it between, ooh, drat, oh dear. Puts it between the 9 and the 8. And here we go. This is our first trick question. Ooh, I wonder if anyone can suss it. First things first, it's an 8. So it rounds up, okay? Now, if you check it out, the 9 would kind of turn the 69 into a 70 if you think of it that way. Now, I know it's really, especially because I'm putting this on video, I have to be really clear here. It's quite bad form to say the digits as like big numbers after this. So this number is 125.698. Okay, it's not 125.698. You have to say them individually, but just for this one time, for this one unit, it's helpful to say it kind of as regular numbers, like not decimal numbers. So if this thing rounds up, it's going to be, if it rounds up, it's going to become 125, and instead of 69, 70. It'll be 125.70. If it rounds down, it'll stay as it is, 125.69. So even though it's hard to say, or it's wrong to say it that way, it's kind of helpful. Well, it rounds up, which means it's 125.7. Now, there's something missing. Can you see, buddies, that it had to be 2 decimal places? That means there has to be 2 numbers after the decimal. So this 0 here is totes required, because if you want 2 decimal places, it means there's got to be 2 numbers after the decimal point. So even though the 0 doesn't do anything, you got to have it. So what do you think about this last one, this hardest one then? Well, 3 decimal places. You ready? 1, 2, 3. So it goes between the third and the fourth 9. Okay, so basically, because this is a well-complicated one, I'm going to think of this number as 8,999. Now, does the 9 go up or down? Up, you say. That's right. So 8,999 would become 9. Ooh, where's my pen? Would become 9,000. Bang. And boom, boom, boom. Now, that number is actually, so don't call it 9,000. That number is actually just 9, right? So it seems ridiculous I've got all these zeros. Do I need them? Should I just bin them? Just put equals 9? No, of course not. You need them. Because there has to be 3 numbers after the decimal, so you've got to have that. Cool. Here's what I'm going to get you to do. So I know you've done this before, but I'd still like you to have a little crack for me, if you wouldn't mind, at these guys. Okay? So I'm going to say, pause the... You don't even have to write it if you don't want, to be honest, my lovelies. But pause the video in a sec, and then I'll give you just a sec to do it, and then I'm going to read out what the answers are supposed to be, and then we'll move on to the next topic. So you ready? Have a little think, pause, go. Okay, and you're back again, my buddies. So let's just check you got them right. For 2A, this bad boy here, it should be 5.67 to 2 decimal places. Next one, 8.06. Next one, 0.13. And the last one, 3.04. Hopefully that's okay. 3 decimal places now. 6.446 that would be for this one. You do count the zeros, so in decimal places, so 0.079. And this one here, 5.079 here as well. Not as well, but yeah, 079 again. And then this one here is going to be 6.008. So I hope that that's okay. Now, here's something that I know you have learned it, but I know that people don't really like this or don't quite remember it. But I love it, and scientists love it, and lots of people love it. So the next little subtitle for your book, buddies, is rounding significant figures. Okay? Now, if you want to be kind of like lazy like me, people call it sig figs, and it's a bit fun to say that as well. So we're going to do some sig figs today. Cool? You got the title written yet? Okay, good. And here is what we are going to talk about. So in the last one, it was nice and easy peasy when you were doing decimal places, okay? If it said do 2 decimal places, it meant go 2 spots after the decimal. But decimal places aren't always ideal, because what if you had huge numbers to deal with? So instead of saying, instead of saying, oh my god, my brain has drawn a blank. Instead of like measuring to the nearest millimeter or whatever, where you might round to the nearest millimeter, or you might round to the nearest centimeter, instead of doing something like that with decimal places, what if you were a scientist or an astronomer, and you wanted to tell me how far Earth was away from Mars, or you wanted to say how far away the Milky Way galaxy is to the Andromeda galaxy, these numbers that we're talking about are absolutely astronomically, they're huge numbers, big, big, big numbers. So rounding to decimal places is useless, but you also can't be super accurate to the nearest whole number either. So what we've got is this thing called significant figures, because then that allows you to round any type of number, whether it be big or small. Okay? It's super useful for scientists because you can round to significant figures when you're talking about the scale of the universe, so how far galaxies might be apart from one another. But you can also round to significant figures when you say how big is an atom and how big would a cell be, or what happens if you were to split an atom, how far apart would the components of the atom be apart from each other. Those minuscule tiny wee numbers, atomic small numbers, you can round them with significant figures in the same way you can round the universe. So this is a really kind of good universal way of doing it. Cool. I'll tell you how it works though, because I think that's actually what we should talk about. Okay. This number, 4,282, needs to be rounded to one significant figure. Are you ready? All significant figures is you count the number of spaces in from the left. Okay? It's gotta be left. There's one other trick to it. If there are zeros first, so the number starts in 0, like D, you ignore the zeros at the start. They're called leading zeros, and don't get led on by them. You ignore the leading zeros. And that's the only rules of sig figs. Okay? So this guy here, 4,282. Well, here's what you're going to do, buddies. You count one spot in from the left, which means you underline the 2. The 4 that's in front, is it round down and stay a 4, or does it round up and become a 5? If you said it rounds down and becomes a 4, you're right. But what we've got to introduce here are 3 placeholders, okay? So there's 1, 2, oops, I know you can't see the pen. Now you can see it though. There's 1, 2, 3 digits after the line, which means that we need 1, 2, 3 placeholders. Now, here's the cool thing about it. This is one significant figure because there's one digit that is not a 0. The 4 is called a significant figure, and the zeros are not significant figures. You don't need to really know that. All you've got to know is how to count in from the left. Cool? So let's check the next one. 4.852. Okay, 2 significant figures this time. That means you count 2 spots in from the left. So once to go to the decimal point, and another to get after the 5. Underline this. Round down and stay 4.8, or round up and be 4.9. 4.9, absolutely right. And that's it. Do I need to put these 2 placeholding zeros in, do you reckon? A 0 for the 5 and the 4? No. And here's why. It's supposed to be 2 significant figures, so 2 non-zero numbers. There's 1 there, and there's 1 there. So we've got our 2 significant figures. Bish, bash, bosh, got it. Cool. This guy here, 4 significant figures. So you ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Put it between the 0 and the 5. Cool. Now the number in front is 3040. Round up or down? Well, up. So 3041. Cool. Do I need a placeholding 0 this time? Well, actually, yes. We do need a placeholding 0, simply because this original number you could have thought of as being 30,405. So the answer can't be 3,000. It would have to be 30,000 again. So it has to be the same kind of general size. Your 4 significant figures are these 4. Cool. The 0 at the end is just a placeholder, the same as these zeros at the end. Cool. And the last one, D, the hardest. There's only one trick to do, and the trick was you ignore leading zeros. So you ready? Ignore, ignore, ignore. Now we've got to go 2 spots in. So the 2 spots in, once is behind the 5, once is behind the 0. Underline that. Okay. Now is it going to be 0.0050 or 0.0051? Well, 50. The reason why it's 50 is because it rounds down. Now, here's the tricky thing. We needed 2, and here we go. We have 2. Because, remember, you always ignore these leading ones so they don't count. And if I only put the 5, I would only have 1 digit. which means I have to put the 0. Now, I don't want to make this too complicated because significant figures are complicated if I'm honest with you. But the 0 that's after here is a significant figure because if they're after a decimal point, they're unneeded. So if you choose to put one there, it means that you chose to make it significant. You don't worry about these placeholder ones, but you do worry about this one because it's not placeholding. Do you see what I mean? Because it's extra, it's not a placeholder. But these guys are placeholders. Cool, cool, cool. It is tricky, I know, but let's have a little try. Are you ready? Boom. So what I'll do is just same thing again. You can either just think about them if you like, or you can pause and try to write them down. I'll just say what the answers are verbally once you get them done. So you ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, and you're back, buddies. So let's do it. Two significant figures. This one here is going to be 39, two placeholder zeros. Bang, 3,900. This one here, two significant figures, goes there. It's going to round down, so the 23, you need one placeholder though, 230. This one here, two significant figures, goes right over the decimal. This is going to round up. It's 46. Don't put any decimals after it because we already have our 2 digits. Don't forget, these guys here, this 0, and this 0 are all placeholders, so they don't count. So they only have 1, 2, 1, 2, and 1, 2 digits. Okay, here we go. Next one. It is, this one here goes there. 6.4, 6.5, well, 6.5. Don't put a 0 because we already have 2 digits. This one here, 5.079, line goes there. It's going to round up. 5.1, don't put any zeros. We've already got 2 digits. Happy days? One significant figure. This one here is going to be the 3 will just stay a 3, and you're going to have 1, 2, 3 zeros. Now you do need the zeros because they're placeholders. They're not significant. You have 1 digit, the 3 that's significant. Here we go. Put the line there. The 4 is going to stay a 4. Now 42 wouldn't round to 4, so you've got to put a 0 in there. That 0 is not significant because it's a placeholder. This one here, one significant figure, 3.0. Well, it just becomes 3. Don't put any zeros in because 3 does round to 3. This one here, one significant figure, 7.92, 8. This one here, 19.8. Well, the 9 is going to cause the 1 to become a 2, and you do need a placeholder there because it's just a placeholder. I hope that's okay. I know it's hard, lovelies, but you'll be really good at it, and your science teachers will absolutely thank me for having taught you this. Please ask questions on the Show My Homework if you need any help. Here's the activity I'm going to give you. I've attached this, and I don't need you, so it's a tarsia, and in case you've not built one of them before, if you cut them out and put them together, they make a hexagon, okay? Now, I know that you might not want to do that, and that's fair enough, especially because you're doing it at home. I know that you might not be wanting to have a faff with cutting and sticking, and I usually get students to do this as teamwork. So here's what I'm going to give you the option of. If you want, you can cut it and stick it. If you do, it makes a big, beautiful hexagon. If you don't want to cut it and stick it, here's what you're going to do. You're going to answer the questions. So let me just let's grab this one here. I'm going to answer that one. Okay. This to 3 significant figures, count 3 spots in, bang, it goes there. So it's going to become 132. I don't need any decimal points because I don't need any decimal points because there's no placeholders. Okay, if you'd rather, here's what I'd suggest. If you've got colors, like coloring pencils or something, you could make this. Can I highlight in this, I wonder? Oh, drat, I can't highlight, darn. Oh well, I'll show you anyway. I'll pretend I can highlight. What I would do is I would do this. I would indicate that this 132 matches with that and do it like a matching. Get me, buddies? So essentially just match them up to what they are. Is there any really tricky ones that I should show you, I wonder? Let me just have a little peruse of it. I don't know if there's any really hard ones that will catch you out. I hope that there aren't. But there might be. Oh, yeah, okay. Here's one. See this one here, buddies? Here's a trick question. There you go. Well, I thought there might be a hard one. This to 1 decimal place. Well, there's 1 decimal place. Remember, it's DP this time, so we're counting spaces after the decimal. It's going to actually be 20, right? But because it's 1 decimal place, don't forget that you need the 0.0 to show it had 1 decimal place, which means, buddies, this one needs to match with a 20.0. So, wherever the devil that's gone, a 20.0. Oh, there it is. Okay, it matches up with this one here, but you gotta be on the lookout because there might have been a regular 20 somewhere which it doesn't match with. So that's the only thing you gotta watch for. It's tricky, but you've got the whole rest of the day to work on it. You're doing super well. I'm really sad that I can't see you. I really, really am, my lovelies. We got it. I've not even met one of my year 9 group, so I've been in quarantine, and now you're in quarantine. Oh, but do your best. You guys are superstars, and yeah, stay safe and stay well. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you again. Upload this on to Show My Homework when you've got all the matching done, and that would be awesome. Goodbye, buddies. See you next time. Bye, lovelies.